Welcome to On the Couch, a regular catch-up where we talk about the issues and problems facing marketing today and hopefully try and solve some of them. I'm joined by owner of PureMac, Adrian Treahy, who's a technology guru. Welcome, Adrian.
Thanks, Darren. It's good to be here. Hopefully we can have some good advice that we give people.
Thank you. Well, look, technology is really interesting for me because every time I pick up the trade media, everyone's talking about ad tech and martech and the like. So, what do you see is the impact that this is having on business?
The simple answer is technology is a continuing impact. It's continually impacting in multiple ways. So businesses, I think the big mistake they often make is thinking that it's just a short-term investment. You have one of those and then you solve the issue. You really need to become living and breathing technology and understanding how that intertwines with the core strategy of the business.
Because one of the things, I get a lot of phone calls from marketers phoning up saying we need to become more technology-centric. And I'm not sure that's the answer. What do you think?
It's not. I mean, at the end of the day, technology is not the solution to their business challenges. It's a plank in the overall strategy that the business needs to have. Businesses need to adapt a more agile way of thinking about their strategy overall. So I think that strategy maybe used to mean a 5-year plan. I don't think that's possible today. I think strategies have to be 18 months because the market's changing so rapidly through technology. And that's why people feel it's a technology issue, but it's really not a technology issue fundamentally.
Yeah, we talk about technology being an enabler, and not the actual solution. But technology also comes with a huge amount of jargon, and when you're involved in it, it sort of becomes second nature. It's almost like 3-letter acronyms inside organisations. What's your advice for someone who is being completely bamboozled by the jargon?
Ask for plain English. At the end of the day, don't be afraid to ask the people who are using the jargon to explain how what the term means, and B, how that delivers a result for the business. Because a lot of people think that they've just got to have one of the acronyms in their technology stack. And if they don't have that, then somehow they're not keeping up with the Joneses, and that's a really critical thing. They don't do that. You actually need to always put the customer and the business strategy in the centre and ask the question, how does that help me achieve my end result?
You just used one of those really tricky jargons, which is the stack, because it looks like plain English. It's a stack. So, to me, it's a stack of technology sitting in the corner. What is a stack when it comes to martech or adtech?
It's in essence, the analogy comes from a server stack in the corner. That's where it originally started, but it's morphed to mean all of the technology pieces in a jigsaw puzzle. The problem is it's a puzzle, and you really have to understand: are there critical pieces of that puzzle missing? Can you still tell what the picture looks like when you've got some gaps, and therefore maybe you don't need to have all of those pieces to get a total picture. The question is, does the total picture help, or do you need enough of the picture that you can achieve the outcomes? Because it's an investment ultimately. And then you've got to get into, is that stack something that you're operationalizing? So there's a whole lot of issues there in terms of the investment that goes underneath that. You can spend a lot of money talking to salespeople who will throw a lot of acronyms and say you need it in the stack and make you feel like somehow you're a second-class citizen if your organisation doesn't have those things.
Great sales technique. But, that's one of the issues, isn't it? You've had a lifetime career of working in enterprise technology, and now with PureMac helping businesses integrate and implement technology. What is the single biggest mistake you think you've heard of or seen people make?
I think the biggest mistake is failing to have a true strategy or understanding of what the business needs are and how technology is servicing those particular needs. The mistake is thinking it's about technology solving issues, and it's often not about technology solving issues. So it's really sit and look at holistically the whole business, and then do a gap analysis and truly understand whether there are aspects of the technology that are needed. Don't listen to the salesman, because the salespeople will always tell you that technology solves every issue, and they can cause as many problems as they solve.
Yeah, because one of the big issues, and look, it's good for us because we get work out of it, is marketers that have bought a platform or a piece of technology and then they're stuck because there's actually no plan for implementation. How do you get around that problem?
Just buying a piece of technology does not solve the challenge or solve the issue that the business is facing. It's often just the start of the journey. The real issue is implementing it, maintaining it, deploying it, upgrading it, making sure that there's integration plans so that the data across all of these pieces of software actually goes back into a centralized place where we can do things like data visualization, because otherwise we're just looking at a very, very small part of the jigsaw puzzle that we need to solve.
But for the marketers out there that are struggling with how to go about putting this together, what's the starting point that you'd recommend for anyone looking at investing in marketing technology?
If we start looking at what pieces of software, you need to make sure that the strategy is in place and that the whole organisation is truly wrapped around that strategy. It's not a marketing strategy, it's not a sales strategy, it's not a technology strategy, it's a customer strategy at the end of the day. And how does the business best serve the needs of that customer across all the channels? The term omni-channel is used a lot these days because customers are touching the brand across everything from YouTube content to blogs to content that we control, content we don't control. And how does a single piece of technology that you're implementing truly address those particular issues?
And even create a single customer experience across multiple platforms, because that seems to me to be one of the big issues now.
It is. And I think in the old days we could control our website. Yeah. It's our website, it's our content, we can control that customer journey. I think with social media, a lot of businesses are really struggling. They're struggling to understand how can we truly be involved and how can we control the conversation. The keyword there being control, and I think that's the issue that a lot of businesses struggle with, is the definition of controlling the customer journey versus going on a stroll together.
Well, you've worked with hundreds of companies across their technology issues. What would be the single piece of advice that you would want to share with anyone in this space?
I think truly understand the role that technology can play holistically across the business. Breaking down the fiefdoms and the silos that exist in companies is really hard. Even companies that have restructured, it's not just a structural, sometimes it's a cultural issue, and it's hard for organisations to do that. But if you don't truly look at the whole entity and the whole customer experience, then you're just trying to plug holes with bits of software because they look good when you look at them on Google and you see this, we need a CRM, it looks fantastic. Yeah. But truly, what does a CRM offer? What is the customer relationship that you have and what are you trying to manage?
So why do you think people go wrong?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Internal politics.
And budgets, I imagine.
And as a marketer, that's why we started doing microsites in the early days. Was because it was just too hard to knock down the wall to the IT department and actually build a website, because it took 8 months to build a website. As marketers, we needed to be fluid. So this strategy of the agencies going, let's build a little microsite that we could get, was a great way of addressing that and giving the marketers a tool to go to market. But the days of a single web microsite being all they're gone. People, it doesn't exist like that anymore. There's still a place for those tactical components of a campaign, but the platform needs to facilitate that. It shouldn't be gone off and built in a silo over because the marketing department has a budget. Hey, we can build one of these, let's do that, and we don't have to engage with the rest of the company because platforms are integrated now. And as you say, customers want a seamless experience end to end. And if the marketing material, digital marketing material, is promising one thing, but the customer experience is completely different, well, that disconnect is jarring for a consumer. And they're going, well, hang on, you promised this when I was looking at this microsite, I had this great experience, but actually when I engaged with the sales reps, it was a completely different experience. It was like they were two different companies. And that's what the marketplace demands. That's what the successful brands are doing. But it's a challenge. It's a really hard thing to achieve internally for businesses.
And certainly one that you and PureMac can help people with.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us on the couch. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and there'll be more on the couch coming very soon. Thank you.
Thanks.